Hi my loves, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new, it is so great to have you here. How are you all doing today? I am very excited today because we're starting another reading vlog, and this one is kind of part of a series, or a series to be. In one of my past shopping vlogs, I went book shopping for your favorite books. I asked you on Instagram to tell me like your all-time favorite books, your 5-star reads, and I went book shopping for them and got as many as I could. I've also been kind of collecting them behind the scenes as well. And today we are starting a series where I'm going to be reading your 5-star reads and recording my thoughts, telling you what I think of them. I'm very, very excited about this. So for today, we have a few different options. We have a few different places to start. I reckon I'll get to about 3 books in this vlog, and then we'll just keep the series going if you guys like it. In my past shopping vlog, I had a really hard time finding the City of Brass series, and that was like a really popular series that a lot of you absolutely loved. And then I asked my friend, and she happened to have the first 2 books in the series. So we have City of Brass and Kingdom of Copper. I don't really know what these are about, like they're fantasy YA series, that's all I really know, and I think we're set in Cairo, which is really interesting, but I'm definitely leaning towards them. I will probably read at least one of these in the vlog. I don't know if I'll get to the second one, but yes, I'm very, very intrigued by this. We also have The Book Thief, which I will read if I am emotionally stable enough, because I feel like I'm going to be crying a lot in this. Again, don't know too much about it, but I want to go into a lot of these blind. I just know that this is set in Germany in World War II, so obviously I think it is going to be quite sad. Beartown by Frederick Backman. This was probably one of the most popular answers. Like this and Boys of Tommen were the most popular answers, and I honestly hadn't heard much about this book before I bought it. Now that I bought it, all I know is that we're set in Sweden, in a small Swedish town. I think it's a bit of a cozy crime situation. I'm really not sure. I put this on my TBR for the month as well, but it is freezing today and for the rest of the week, so I feel like this might be a good contestant as well. We also have Cleopatra and Frankenstein. Only a few of you said this, but I was just really intrigued by the cover. I've had my eye on this for a long time, and the author recently came out with another book. So if I like this, I'm really intrigued to read her books. This is a contemporary fiction. We're based in New York following Cleo, and I think she is about to be forced out of the country because her student visa is running up. But then at a New Year's Eve party, she meets Frank, who is like 20 years older than her or something. Like there's, yeah, 20 years older, but he can give her the security she needs. I'm really intrigued by this. I think it's a little bit out of my comfort zone, but that's what I'm kind of trying to do with this challenge, so maybe we'll get to this one as well. And then finally, the Boys of Tommen Binding 13 series. Now, I have read this, you all know that, but I have been meaning to reread this for such a long time, and I kind of feel like it would be the perfect vlog to reread it. I'll probably annotate my indie versions, but I just like, I've been craving a reread of this series, so I feel like I'll probably be reading this in the background whether I talk about it too much or not, but like this series has my heart, and it's been over a year since I read it for the first time, so I think it's time to reread it, surely. I'm just scared that once I start, I'll just want to continue the rest of the series. So for now, I think I am going to start with City of Brass. I've got a few things to do today, but I'll update you when I do start it. I'm just most intrigued by this one. I'm in a fantasy mood. I have been reading a lot of fantasy recently, and I haven't heard a lot about this one, and I love discovering new fantasy worlds. So at the moment, this is what we're leaning towards. It's obviously later in the night, and I have read a lot of Boys of Tommen. I have been wanting to reread this book for such a long time, and this video was honestly just a perfect excuse for me to. So I'm 200 pages in, and I don't know if you can see, but I have tabbed quite a bit, honestly. I've just been absolutely like loving seeing the quotes. There's so much foreshadowing. There's like, oh, just so many incredible things about this book, and like seeing the characters at the beginning and knowing where they end up is just, I don't know, it's making me very emotional, and I think this is going to quickly become one of my most annotated reads. I kind of expected it to, honestly. I am just so obsessed with these characters, with the world, with the found family. Like, it is just so unmatched. So unmatched. Some of the quotes in here, like the way Johnny describes Shannon is just absolutely beautiful. Some of the quotes in this, oh, I'm obsessed. I'm actually obsessed with this book so much. Because this is a reread though, I am also starting another book, and I've decided on City of Brass. So I think I mentioned earlier, but my friend Lara, my best friend, lent me this book because I couldn't actually find it in store. And she was like, I've got it, you can just read it, and then if I like it, I'll just buy my own copy. So there are a few like little tabs in there of when she read it. I've technically started it, but I'm not very far in. My brain's not really working too well at the moment, so that's why I've just been rereading. But I'm gonna get into it a little bit more tonight because it's only 7 7 o'clock, 7:20 at the moment. I know I'm already in bed on a Thursday night. Anyway, I'm literally only 11 pages in. From what I'm gathering, this is like a really cool YA kind of fantasy setting. We are set in Cairo, in 18th century Cairo, which is in Egypt. In the markets of 18th century Cairo, thieves, tricksters, con artists, and outcasts eke out a living, swindling rich nobles and foreign invaders alike. But alongside this new world, the old stories linger. Tales of Din, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, and spirits of cities, hidden among the swirling sands of the desert, full of enchantment, desire, and riches, where magic pours down every street, hanging in the air like dust. So I'm really liking the setting. It's really interesting to me so far. I do think I'm going to like this like vibe. I've never really read a fantasy book like set in the desert and in Cairo and all that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like mine are usually set in forests and like fairy forests and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm really excited to get into this. And then she also lent me the second one. So if I really like it, I can continue after I finish this video. So these are my first 2 reads of the video. Not sure what I'll do afterwards, but you know, we'll see once I've like actually made a dent into these books. It is the next morning. I woke up a little bit earlier today than I thought I was going to, and I fell asleep earlier than I thought I was going to last night. So that kind of like evened out well. And I did get a little bit more read. I made quite a bit of a dent. So City of Brass. I am 167 pages in. I am really liking this. I will say it took me a little bit to like grasp the understanding of what's going on in this book, because this is a magic system unlike anything I've read before, honestly. I feel like we have so many different religions or kind of different like magic people in this book, and it's kind of like taking me a second to like grasp them. But then this morning I found a glossary at the back, so reminder to always check the back for glossaries of fantasy books, and that has been helping so much more. I can actually differentiate in the different types of magic and like different types of like communities and stuff in this book now, so that's really helping. It is multiple POV, again, I didn't know that, but I'm really liking it. It's set in the desert, which I feel like is really different, and at least for anything I've read before. And I'm actually really enjoying it. As I said, a little bit confusing, but because it's a YA book, I feel like it doesn't take too long to kind of grasp it. Once you get past the first like 100 pages of fantasy books, I feel like it gets a lot easier. And that's definitely the case for this one. But yeah, so far I don't have too many thoughts. I am really enjoying the vibe. I'm really enjoying the magic system. I really like our characters. From what I've gathered, we are following Naira, who was living in Cairo and kind of living off thieving people and tricking people and all that kind of stuff, because that was pretty much the only way she could make a living. She would often like predict certain things for them, but she is a healer, so she can heal people, which means she has magic blood in her and she's not just a human. She then kind of gets into a situation where she needs a bit of saving, gets lost on her way home one night, I believe, and accidentally calls on I can't remember what word it is, but accidentally calls on someone with magic blood. There's so many different types, and I'm like struggling to remember. A deva? I think it's a deva. She calls on a deva. I'm really liking it. Sorry if that was really confusing. I'm still a little bit confused, if I'm going to be honest. I think it'll just get better. I'm quite addicted to it. Like, I just want to keep reading it. So that's what I'm going to do now after I've done some uni work. And then for Binding 13, like, can you see my annotations? I have been going nuts and absolutely loving it. So I am up to page 64. So kind of just under halfway. I love this book so much. I love these characters so much. I'm loving the like little bits of Joey. If you don't know, like Saving Six, the next 2 books after the Keeping and Binding 13 series, like interconnected series, I guess. Anyway, Saving Six is about Joey and his girlfriend Aoife. Those are my 2 favorite characters. Joey and Aoife are like amazing, and having little like glimpses of them in here, knowing what happens in Saving Six and stuff, because they're set on the same timeline, is just really interesting. I'm really liking it, and like the fact that Joey just does absolutely anything for his family, like for Shannon and for his like brothers and stuff, is just amazing. I have got a little key going on. I'm basically just tabbing Shannon, Johnny, Joey, and just some like quotes that I like. But like this book is just amazing, and I will never not be obsessed with it. This is just making me more obsessed with it, honestly. And I cannot wait to have it like fully tabbed and be able to just like pick it up whenever I want and go back to the Boys of Tommen and these beautiful quotes. So yeah, I'm loving it. I'm gonna do some uni work now, and then I'll hopefully read a bit more today, and I'll update you a bit later. It's a bit later in the day. Well, it's quite a bit later. It's the late afternoon now. I had an early shower and kind of got cozy, and I've been reading quite a bit today. I've made a good dent. I'm not sure if you can see, but I am at page 320, so I am over halfway. Got just under 200 pages left. I'm not sure if I'll be able to finish it today, but we'll see how we go. So far my thoughts, like they're pretty much all positive. I am really, really enjoying this, and I think this is like a really, really unique kind of fantasy book. I haven't read anything like this before, especially like the setting and the world. I'm finding that really unique. It did take a while to like understand everything and understand all the different terminology and everything like that. We also have ghouls in this, which I've never had like villains as ghouls in fantasy books, at least not in a long time. So I think that's really fun. But yeah, I am really enjoying it so far. I will say the romance, I'm not sure if I'm rooting for it, but I have a little inkling that it might, like the romance might change a bit in book 2. I don't know. I don't know. I like the characters by themselves, but I'm not sure they match romantically. But like, it's good. It hasn't been too heavy on the romance. It's been like a really, really good balance. I really like it. Definitely just like a YA fantasy book with a little trinket of romance in there, which I really like. I definitely will be reading book 2 though, I think. I'm really enjoying this world. I just think it's so different, so fun. I also am just obsessed with the cover. I feel like they don't make fantasy covers like this anymore. It's almost very nostalgic for me reading this because it kind of feels like when I was in like early high school and just reading a bunch of fantasy books every day. I highly, highly recommend. I haven't made that much more of a dent with Boys of Tommen. I can't remember what page I was up to when I said last, but I think I'm about halfway now. Page 316. It's the weekend, so I've been actually had time to read a lot. Oh my God. Like this is just making me fall even more in love with this series. I know I've said it before, but it is. I really can't help it. And there's so much foreshadowing. And as I said before, seeing like Joey in this book and knowing what he's going through at the moment, oh, it makes my heart ache. I don't think there's like a page gone by that I haven't at least underlined something in, because there are just so many things, and like the characters feel so real. The way Chloe Welsh writes makes the characters feel so real, and like I've been physically laughing and already like getting tears in my eyes, and I'm only halfway through the first one, but that's only because I've read the rest of the series. I feel like if you were reading it for the first time, like when I read it for the first time, I didn't get tears or anything when I read the first book. But yes, that is my little reading update for now. I am going to attempt to finish this tonight. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but we'll give it a go. We'll do our best. We'll see how we go. It's the next morning and I finished City of Brass last night. I honestly just kept reading from then on and finished it late last night, and I was very impressed. I really, really liked this. I don't know what my rating will be. I feel like I'll wait until the end of the video or just like sit on it for a little bit more, but I really, really enjoyed this and I highly recommend this series. I'm definitely going to be continuing it. I already have the second book with me, so I'll probably be continuing it very, very soon. But I really just liked the world that this was set in. I thought the world was really, really unique. I thought our characters were really great. They were really unique and different and very strong. Like they had a really strong presence, which was really nice. Our ending was very good. Like it gives a really good leading kind of point to the next book. So that's why I think I'm going to be reading it very soon. But I don't know, I really enjoyed it so much more than I thought I was going to. It's mainly the world that I liked so much. Like I just loved being set in Cairo and being set in like the desert and stuff. It was just very different to what I'm used to. I feel like I'm usually set in like forests and stuff, which I also love, but it's nice to have a little bit of variety. As I said, highly recommend this. Like it's definitely a 4 stars at least, like probably a little bit higher. I feel like those who recommended me City of Brass are probably talking about the entire trilogy, not just talking about like this singular book. So it might be a little hard for me to completely judge, but it is definitely at least a 4 stars. Like I really enjoyed it. And then today I've just been reading a little bit of Binding 13. I'm over halfway. I'm at page 355. It's starting to get a bit more emotional now. So preparing myself for that. I don't have much update on this because I haven't really read heaps since I last talked to you. But as for my next read, I'm thinking I'll probably go with Beartown. I've just been really intrigued by that. I've been talking a little bit more about it on TikTok and stuff, and all of you are just saying that you really want me to read it and saying that it's just one of your all-time favorite series as well. I don't know how many books there are. I think it's a trilogy. I know that there's at least another one, but I think it's a trilogy. And I'm just starting all these new series, great. But yeah, I think I'm gonna read Beartown next. I will probably start that tonight if I don't just continue Binding 13 for tonight. I might try and get like through a bit more of a chunk of this. But yeah, we'll see what I'm feeling like. I don't really know what Beartown's about. I wanna go in completely blind. I know that we're set in Sweden, I think, and we're set in a very, very small town on the edge of like one of the biggest forests in Sweden. That's a very interesting premise to me, and I think it's kind of giving cozy mystery kind of vibes. I'm not sure if that's correct, but it is giving that. But yeah, I'm gonna read Binding 13 for a little bit more now, and then I'll probably read Beartown maybe later tonight, or at least tomorrow morning I'll start it. We'll see how I'm feeling, see how my brain's feeling. Good morning, it is the next day. I can't remember in the last clip if I finished City of Brass or was about to finish City of Brass, but I did finish it either way, and I really enjoyed it. I think I've settled on a rating of 4.25 stars. Now, I feel like the series as a whole has very much a lot of potential to be like 4.75 or 5 stars. Like, I feel like the series or the trilogy as a whole has, I just think it'll be so amazing. But like the first book in itself wasn't a 5 stars for me. But like, I feel like it's very rare for a first book in a series to be 5 stars. The only ones that are coming to mind is like Binding 13, but that's because it has more sentimental value. When I read it, it wasn't a 5 stars, but like going back and thinking about it, it is. And like the Mistborn trilogy, the first book in that series was definitely a 5 stars. I thought that was absolutely amazing. But honestly, not a lot of other books are coming to mind that are 5 stars in the first series. So, or the first book in the series. So I'm not really shocked that that wasn't a 5 stars, but it was so good. Like the magic system, the world, the characters was so good. The cliffhanger it left off on, like I definitely need to continue that series and definitely will be continuing that series. For a bit more of a reading update, I'm almost finished Binding 13. I have been annotating it like crazy. I've been obsessed with it. I'm at page 444, 544, this much left. So like less than 100 pages. So I'll probably finish that today. Obviously this is a reread, so I've not been updating you heaps, but like these characters, some of the quotes in this, the way Johnny is for Shannon is so cute. Like the fact that he puts a playlist together for her. But yeah, I kind of knew I was going to be crying in this book, and literally nothing sad, well, not a lot sad happens in this book compared to the other books, but like the foreshadowing. Now that I know what happens in the next books, the foreshadowing in this is breaking my heart. I really love the indie copies. Like it's definitely getting a bit worn, but I kind of like when books look worn and stuff because it shows that they're loved. But I love the indie copies of this so much. I have Keeping 13 in the indie copy, but I didn't get Saving 6 and Redeeming 6, and I'm so mad at myself for not before it was traditionally published, because I got these before they were traditionally published, and now it is super hard to get them. So that's really annoying, because I would love to just like annotate the, you know, just the one set of them, but I don't know. I might see if I can try hunt them down. But yeah, amazing, wonderful, obsessed with these characters. I also started Beartown. I'm at page 90, so I'm not too far in, just made a tiny dent. Definitely very interesting. I didn't really know what to expect going into this, if I'm going to be honest, but the writing so far is really intriguing. I really like the style that it's written in. We have a lot of characters to keep track of. Is like a little bit difficult, I'm not going to lie. But especially because it's not like when I read multiple POVs or just, you know, about multiple characters, usually each chapter is dedicated to a different character. But in this, like halfway through the chapter, we'll be talking about a different character. So you definitely have to be like aware when you're reading this, you have to be awake. But I'm really liking the writing style so far. I really like, it is a cold, rainy day today. So I feel like this is the perfect day to be reading this. And surprisingly, it is very easy to read. It's very easy to understand. I'm kind of getting the idea. We're basically based in like the smallest town in Sweden. One of the smallest towns, and nobody really loves living there. I'm getting the vibe. The town doesn't really have much going for it. More people have moved away. It just keeps getting smaller and smaller each year, but the one thing it has going for it is hockey. Like everyone is obsessed with the hockey in high school. Like it's kind of like the juniors team are amazing. They have a chance at like winning gold or something. So everyone's kind of puts all of their energy into hockey. Some people think that's ridiculous. Some people it's their entire lives and they try not to be as obsessed with the game, but they are. So I don't know, I'm quite interested in it. Lots of different characters, definitely need to like get my idea a bit clearer of it, but yeah, I'm liking it so far. So I'm gonna sit down and read this for a little while, and hopefully I'll make a bit more of a dent today. So it obviously is a little bit later now. It's about 8 o'clock at night, and I'm gonna jump into bed and read a little bit more, but I have read a little bit today. I'm at page 170 of Beartown, and I also managed to finish Binding 13 earlier today. I'll talk a little bit more about that later and have a full Binding 13 rant because I need to. But for now, Beartown. I will say it's taking me quite a bit to get into it, but I kind of expected that. I kind of went in expecting like not, you know, a super gripping, like just addictive plot. I do really like the writing and I really appreciate the writing, and I think it is really like well put together. And clearly this is a very well thought out book, But in saying that, we are 170 pages in and not a lot has happened so far. We're still kind of setting up the town. It is a lot about hockey. Like, you know, hockey is technically like a metaphor for like, that's what people thrive for in this town. It's kind of the only thing they have going for them. It's the thing that gets a lot of people up in the morning. It's the thing that like a lot of people dedicate their life to. And a lot of these people have been in this town since they were young. And like they were going to be hockey players, and for whatever reason that fell through. They didn't quite make it up to like that professional standard, and now they're just back in the town and still on the hockey like scene, just on the coaching side of things, or some people are not on it at all. I feel like hockey as a whole is going to be used as a big metaphor and like a comment on society. It's definitely very interesting so far. I don't have the like immediate need to pick it up all the time. Like I'm not always sitting there going like, okay, I need to like finish this work so I can go read this. But when I do pick it up, I'm very intrigued. So I don't know if that makes sense. But it has been like pouring rain and stuff outside today, so it kind of is like the perfect atmosphere to be reading this. I'm trying to get a kind of grip on all of our characters still, and like kind of seeing them more is really interesting. Like we've got Kevin, who is the kind of hotshot hockey player who has so much potential. We also have a family of, I think there's 4 of them, plus a friend. That just is kind of there all the time. The dad is like part of the hockey scene. The mum is a lawyer, and kind of the town kind of looks down on her for being a mum with a career. Like rather than just being a mum and wanting to pay the bills, they're like, you have a career, you're more career focused than family focused, which obviously is not true, but talks about that kind of balance. Then we have their kids, which are also very present. And yeah, it's just a very interesting dynamic. It's a very interesting character dynamic so far, because we've got like some much more mature characters, like parents and stuff, that are kind of living vicariously through their daughters, through their sons, or just through other like young people in this town. They don't even have to be related. So I feel like that's really interesting. But yeah, so far not too much in. Like I can't comment that much, but I'm gonna try and get through a good chunk tonight. I don't know how much more we'll get through, but we'll see. And so then hopefully tomorrow I can read a little bit more and hopefully finish it either tomorrow or the next day. I don't know how much I'll get done, but yeah, it's very, I'm so curious to see what I think by the end. And I feel like it's a slow build up to whatever's going to happen. And I know something's going to happen. I'm just going to be brutally honest right now. I kind of regret everything I said about this book last night, because I read literally 30 more pages, 40 maybe, and a complete change in content. And like, I don't know, just kind of the wording of things. Please look up trigger warnings before going into this book. I didn't think that would be an issue, but it definitely is. We are talking about some very, very sensitive topics. So yeah, please look up trigger warnings before you go in. I don't want anyone reading about things that make them uncomfortable. I'm just feeling like this is a very blunt, but very powerful comment on society, on humanity, on people. Pretty accurate, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of this is very, very accurate. Convincing myself that I can finish this today. I don't know if that's true. It's 1:30 at the moment and I haven't read any more today, but I have done pretty much all of my like uni work in the morning, and it's a Sunday. So I think I'm just gonna try and spend the afternoon reading. I'll see, I've got a few things to do like washing and stuff, but I'll see how much I can get read today. I'm kind of convincing myself that I can finish it today. I don't know if that's unrealistic. Like realistically, it's 460 pages. Not a lot to read, like just over 200 pages to read. But I feel like the intensity of this and the way it's written, you have to like read it very carefully and very slowly so you understand everything. Because I feel like if you skim over a line, you'll probably miss like a very crucial plot point. Yeah, anyway, I'm gonna keep reading this and see how things change, because I feel like I'm on the like very edge of something major happening. We're gonna ignore the fact that like the bed is a bit of a mess, but anyway, I am about just over 100 pages away from finishing Beartown. This book has had a lot more of an impact on me than I thought it was going to, if I'm gonna be honest. The themes in this are very, very sensitive. So as I said before, please like look up what you're going into if you're triggered easily, or if there are just certain things you want to avoid. It is so, so relevant. The way this comments, I'm not gonna say what the situation is because number one, it's kind of a spoiler. And number two, it's a sensitive topic. But the way this comments on society and privileged men and like small towns, especially, like a lot of my high school and stuff was in a small town, and being an outsider coming into a small town, it's quite interesting seeing like the different dynamics, and this really, really represents that. And just kind of the people that grow up there and never leave have very, very different mindsets to people who come and choose to live there. All very interesting, and it's definitely prompting a lot of really intense topics and intense thoughts. I don't know how else to say it. It just, it's heavy. And I didn't expect it to be this heavy, honestly. I really didn't. For some reason, I thought this was going to be like a cozy crime kind of book, but it's not. And it's really interesting. So I love some of our characters. Like, some of our characters are so strong and resilient, and I think it is so nice to see that in just such a normal kind of setting. Some of our characters I just want to slap in the face, honestly, because but some of them I love so much. The whole idea of hockey, I feel like, is just an obsessive thing that a lot of the men fixate on this town. It's kind of the town's personality, honestly. It's all it's got going for it at this point. So like, I feel like a lot of people just fixate on it, honestly. And it's, again, really interesting style it's written in. There is so, kind of regretting not annotating this, because there are so many like quotes that make you just go like, oh my gosh, and just make you think and think about society and think about the world we live in and stuff. And the fact that like this is such a true story, and this has happened probably to like so many people without even realizing it, and some people are brave enough to speak about it. So yeah, I don't want to say I'm enjoying it, because with the themes that I've just read about, it's a lot, but I am finding this really, really interesting, and I almost don't want to give it a rating, but I will be, and it is leaning towards a 5 stars. It is really, really leaning towards a 5 stars. Like, it's either going to be like a 4.5 or above, I think, unless something like awful happens and it's like a terrible conclusion, but I really think it will be good, because it says on the back, laugh out loud funny that will help you restore your faith in humanity. It says it will restore your faith in humanity, and right now I've lost every single bit of faith in humanity I had. So surely the end has got to kind of conclude that and bring that all together. But yeah, anyway, that's my update for now. I think I'll be able to finish it tonight, because it's about 4:30 at the moment. Obviously I'm gonna go for a bit of a walk and kind of do some things. We'll have dinner later, but then tonight I'll sit down and hopefully finish it tonight. So and I'll talk to you probably more tomorrow. I'll kind of do an overview, but I'll definitely give you my thoughts once I finish it, and then we'll just kind of go through everything I've read in this video. It is the next day, and I successfully finished Beartown last night. Let's talk about this first, because oh my gosh. First of all, I have a new favorite 5-star read. Like, this is a 5-star read by far. This was so emotional, so impactful, so jarring. Like, there was just something about this book that just blew all of my expectations. Honestly, I think going in not knowing a lot about it was definitely a good idea, because like my mind was just blown. The writing was so beautiful, which is also really interesting because this is translated from Swedish. So like, I kind of thought there would be some like, I don't know, miscommunications of stuff, and like, but the quotes were so memorable and shocking. I highly, highly recommend reading this. I feel like this is one of those books that like everyone has to read in their lifetime. It talks about such important topics. It comments on society in such a like just raw and real way that like sometimes you're a little bit too scared to think about in a way. This was brilliant. Like, this was brilliant. I see why so many of you love it so much, because I don't think I've read a book that like has really just made me stop and think like that in such a long time. I don't know what to say about this too much, because I don't want to give any of the plot away, because I think like that in itself will just spoil things. But I will say the characters are amazing. I love Benji. I love Maya, I'm not sure how you say it. And like the idea of like community and family is just, I feel like, put together in such a unique way. I just thought this was so well done, like so incredibly well done. So yeah, this deserves a 5 stars. I understand why all of you love it so much. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Finding 13, Voice of Tommen. Now, of course, this was a 5 stars. You can see by, I don't know actually if you can see, the camera's not really picking it up, but I annotated this a lot, which is exactly what I wanted to do. And honestly, I just want to go read Keeping 13 right now. Like, this has just made me want to continue this series so bad. Just Shannon and Johnny. They're so precious. They're so precious. And I love seeing like glimpses of Joey, because like, as I said, Saving Six is on the same timeline, so you know what's going on now. And reading it whilst you know what's going on with Joey just makes it that much more heartbreaking, if I'm going to be honest. Obviously this is a 5 stars, like 6 stars, but this is like sentimental reasons that it's a 6 stars. Like, in itself, I think when I first read it, I rated it like a 4.5, and then the rest of the series is 5 stars. Now that like I reread it, It's a 5 stars. I love this series to pieces. And as I'm filming this, like Chloe Walsh keeps posting updates for like her new release. I don't know when it's gonna be. I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't know whether we're getting like Lizzie's story. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But she's posting a lot of updates and hinting at a lot of new possible Boys of Tommen books, which makes me so happy. I also want to continue her other series. I want to read The Carter Kids. I've heard mixed things, but mainly good things. I know that all of her series are quite traumatic, like, and deep and dark. So I'll go in knowing that, but I do want to read The Carter Kids. It's just quite hard to get in Australia because it's independently published. But yes, amazing, amazing, amazing. You all need to read this at some point. And then a final wrap up on City of Brass. I really, really liked this one. I think I'm going to rate it a 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed it. And I think the rest of the series, like this one, Kingdom of Copper, has so much potential. And I've been posting about it recently. And a lot of you have been saying that like the series just gets so much better. So I'm quite excited for it, and I'm definitely going to be continuing it, especially the fact that I've got this. Like the fact that this is borrowed from my friend, it kind of makes me like have to read it sooner. So I will be continuing this series very soon. I can't wait. I'm so excited. And that brings our vlog to a close. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know your 5-star reads in the comments as well if you want me to continue this series. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video.